Hello, this session we're going to deal with how to teach academics to your children. What's the most optimum way? You know, there's two different kinds of learning that you're going to teach. One is skills and the other is concepts, academic concepts. And we've already done a YouTube on how to teach skills optimally. And so if you didn't see that, go back and check that out. And today we're going to talk about how to teach academics optimally. Now, you're not going to use this all the time. You're going to use this as something in your hip pocket that you can pull out if you really want your child to remember this information. This is the apex. Lots of schooling isn't the apex, but this is so that you'll know how to do that, how to secure that knowledge, how to put it in your child so that he never forgets it. Okay, so first of all, you want to begin with the big picture. You always want to orient your child to the big story. You go from big to little when you're developing concepts. You go from the general overview to the specific when you're developing concepts. Okay, so in order to do that, you want to have several things in your house that you constantly refer to. One is a timeline. Now, you can have a large one that goes clear down your hallway if you want. I like one about this size, and I fold it up. It's just three pieces of tag board. I fold it up so I can put it right in my lap to refer it to with children sitting on both sides on the couch. And then I can open it up and we can continually add details. So you want that. And then you want a world map so that you can constantly, if there's stories or discoveries, you can constantly point out where. And this one I just cut in thirds, so again, I can easily hold this in my lap. I can bend it every which way. And I just use duct tape between the sections. So, or you can have one on the wall. Just keep it permanently on the wall and go over there and point to it. And then the third thing you need is a United States map. So you have a world map, a United States map, and a large timeline. And those are going to be your reference points. You're going to orient the child into those big pictures all the time. In literature and in science, in world history, in every subject you talk about, you can orient them in the big picture. So that's point number one. Point number two is when you're relaying information, you want to fix the child's attention. And how do you do that? Well, you tell them before you start that you're going to be required to tell me about this information at the end. And for every point you can remember, I'm going to give you a penny. Or you can say, for every point you remember, I'm going to give you a raisin, a carob-covered raisin, or a gumdrop or something. Try not to make it sugary. But anyway, you're going to give them an incentive to really listen to what it is you're trying to impart. Okay? And then the second part is, after you've imparted that information, you will ask them to give it back to you in their own version. So you see, this is just like digesting food. They take in the food and they chew it all up, and whatever the body needs, it takes out of it. So you're going to put information in, and the brain will chew it all up, and the child will spout out what was important to him. Now, what he decides is important is a God thing. The Lord made some children enamored with the emotions of a situation, other children enamored with the logistics of a situation. Just whatever is meaningful to him will come back out to you. So how do you have the child give you this information back? In one of three ways. They either draw a picture of it, or they tell it to you, they retell it with as many details as they can remember, or when the child is older in junior high and high school, he will write summaries of that information. And by having to write the summary, he will retain that information for a long, long time. It became his. Okay, so let's do an example of it. Let's say you're going to teach them about Alexander the Great. So you say, Johnny, I'm going to read you about Alexander the Great and only do a little section, maybe a couple paragraphs or just one page. And when I finish, I'm going to give you something for every idea you can remember and you can tell back to me. Now, in the beginning, I call this priming the pump, but later on, they won't need those little incentives. They'll be so excited about telling you what they remember that you won't even need outside incentives. It becomes important to them to retain information for their own little lives. Okay, so you would read them about Alexander the Great, say for one page, and then you say, tell me everything you can remember. Just go in your brain and pick out all the little details you possibly can till you run out of things you remember. And so Johnny will step up to the plate. Or you can say, tell it to your dad at dinner time. Or you can say, tell it to your sister or your brother, or even into a tape recorder or a CD player or a laptop. Just get them to regurgitate that information. Okay, and it will become its own intrinsic reward over time, that they can take information and make it their own. So that is how you teach academic concepts. If you've enjoyed this, subscribe below and go to our website, homeschoolhowtos.com, to receive more similar helps. Thank you for watching.